That is the longest line I've ever seen. The first base line, everybody in a Rockies uniform is out there for opening day on the Cactus League, and the Arizona Diamondbacks, who make their home in left field and beyond, they're raring to go. I love this. This is the new wire cam. It's pretty cool.
Great shot. Beautiful shot.
How about Charlie Blackmon? This will be year number 14. Last year, he was having a terrific year. He was derailed for a couple of months when he was hit on the hand in a game at Kansas City, but he still played close to 100 games last year, and he did Charlie Blackmon things. On base percentage at 363, slug 440. That's an OPS above 800. His OPS plus was well over 100. You know many things about Chuck Nasty. Yeah, you know the beard, but he is going to bring an intensity, a work ethic that everyone, whether you're a baseball player or an accountant, should model yourself after. And he is in phenomenal condition once again. He's on the all-time list, top 3 or 4 for Rockies players in virtually every offensive category. You won't see him partake today. You will in the coming days, but it's great to have Chuck Nasty back for his 14th season in purple. Well, we are set to go, and I know you are as well. Come on back to beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. First pitch is next. It's the spring training opener, the Rockies and Diamondbacks. Flew down yesterday, and a ton of Rockies fans made their way down as well, and they're packing in Salt River Fields at Talking Stick on this lovely Friday afternoon for the Cactus League opener between the Rockies and Diamondbacks. Buddy's back for his 8th year on the top step of the dugout, and his coaching staff is intact as well. Buddy, one of the most affable and successful managers in Major League Baseball, and he's excited about this next generation of players. And as we chatted about a few moments ago, Jeff Houston, you're going to see several of those guys from the outset. Adel Amador is in the starting lineup today. Young player that people haven't heard a whole lot about, but you will. Julio Carreras will be at third base.
Yeah, and that's really fun for these guys. I mean, it's an opportunity right out of the gate to prove their worth, to show what they've got going on. You're going to see a lot of young position players early in camp here, which is the norm. You also see Carson Palmquist getting the nod today out on the hill, former high draft pick by the Rockies back in 2022. So for Carson, last year made 19 starts between Spokane and AA Hartford, 7-4 with a 3.90 ERA. A lot of strikeouts and just 92 in a third inning, not many walks. So I'm interested to watch him today and just watch this delivery, because it's for a guy that's 6'3", really kind of drops down and a little bit of a slinger from the side.
Yeah, we'll talk a lot about this. His perceived velocity is greater than what the gun will read. Here's the Rockies defensively. We'll start in the outfield. Brenton Doyle is a rookie, a Gold Glover in center. Nolan Jones with a cannon in left. Sean Bouchard is in right. Veteran Alan Trejo, we can call him a veteran now. He's at shortstop. Adel Amador, one of the top prospects in all of baseball, not just with the Rockies, is at second. Michael Tolia, the UCLA product, at first. Carreras, as we visited about, is at third. Willie McIver is doing the catching of Carson Palmquist. Here is how Arizona, who won a pennant last year, will counter. Ketel Marte, one of the top players in the game, he'll lead things off. Jake McCarthy will bat second. Great young receiver in Gabby Marino behind the plate. Christian Walker, so steady at first. Jock Peterson is now in Arizona. Eugenio Suarez came from Seattle. That was an off-season move. Geraldo Perdomo at short. Ivan Melendez is the DH, and Jorge Barrosa, switch-hitting young center fielder, is batting ninth. That lineup presented, of course, by Torey Luvello. So we're ready to go. It's amazing. I'm thinking back, Huey, to your days as a big leaguer, 12 seasons, and did you guys play a game as quickly,
no,
like 5 days after you arrived?
No, and that's unusual, but that's the beauty of today's game. You see the base hit to left field. As guys come into shape into camp now, I think that's the biggest difference. They're ready to go as soon as they open the gates because they've been practicing for a much longer period of time.
So Ketel Marte starts his spring out with a ground ball through the 5.5 hole. And Carson Palmquist out of the stretch will face Jake McCarthy, who the last couple of years has been up and down for Arizona. He's a marvelous athlete. He's a tremendous, and that's not an overstatement, a tremendous high school running back in the state of Pennsylvania. That's a strike from Palmquist.
Yeah, for McCarthy, it's just a matter of being consistent at the plate. Yeah, once he gets on the base, the speed just is off the charts.
And he's fearless. He's got a little Zach Veen in him.
Yes, he does.
And the slider blocked by McIver. So last year, it was later in spring training, I was having a conversation with Rolando Fernandez, who runs everything internationally for the Rockies and has for a number of years. And I asked him, you know, give me a name or two of a young pitcher. That's a good pitch right there. That's impressed you. And again, this was toward the end of camp. And he didn't hesitate. He said, Carson Palmquist. And he said he throws a lot of strikes. He's fearless. And like you were describing, Huey, it's different.
Yeah, and we just saw a changeup just a moment ago. And not many times do left-handers throw a changeup to a left-handed batter.
Ooh, that's close. I think Palmquist, Spill, you're at field level. I think he thought he had the punch out there.
Yeah, I think he did too. Well, don't forget it's spring training for umpires as well.
Corey Blazer, who's a Colorado native out of Pomona High School. He's working behind home plate. 2-2. That's fouled off. The other three umpires, Lance Barrett, Alfonso Marquez, who's the crew chief, and Nestor Saya. And one of the things, I'm sure you're familiar with this, in spring training, the three base umpires will interchange throughout the game just to get a different view and work at the three base positions. 2-2, McIver to the outside corner.
Oh, that was a wicked pitch.
So Jake McCarthy goes down, 1 out.
Well, we talked about the unique arm angle for Palmquist, and that's just the old-fashioned sweeping slider at 75 miles an hour. It's so hard as a left-handed hitter when you're saying, I got to keep my shoulder in, but when it starts at you and then curves to the outside corner, you start to bail.
Here's Gabby Moreno. And if you try to evaluate, as that just missed, you know, Arizona went with a relatively young club last year and surprised a ton of folks and ended up in the World Series. One of the guys you got to mention, Ryan Spilborghs, is this young catcher they got from Toronto.
So that was part of the Dalton Varsho deal. And the part that stood out about for the Diamondbacks, and you talked to Torey Lovullo, you talked to anybody with the staff, is they didn't realize how good of a receiver Gabby Moreno is behind home plate. He was one of the top 3 receivers in baseball as a first-year rookie, which is amazing.
And that's in there. Nice to be able to get back in a count with an off-speed pitch, so it's 2-1.
Well, we saw the numbers, just a little over 30 walks last year, 92 plus innings. That tells you he has the command and going to be able to command the strike zone.
Tied him up, 2-2. Spilly, I know Huey's doing it up here. Huey hit from the left side. You obviously hit from the right side. You guys put yourself in the box and you try to pick up release point. What do you see from field level?
Spring training, you're just worried about timing. You're not even thinking about the other guy yet.
McIver, no play.
That's probably the best part about spring training is as you're watching hitters hit or pitchers pitch, nobody's quite in full compete mode. You're competing, but you're also trying to get your body back to dealing with adrenaline, dealing with you know, the nervous energy that you have. So as much as you're looking for a release point, you are dialed into how your body feels.
Swung on and missed, so back-to-back strikeouts for Palmquist. Marte remains at first, and that'll bring up Christian Walker.
That looked more like the changeup. He really just turned that over. You see the action starting to work away from Moreno.
So here's the South Carolina product, Christian Walker, and that slider's a little bit low.
Impressive numbers last year for Christian Walker. 103 RBIs and always just that anchor in their lineup.
And he's an anchor in the infield. He's a very good first baseman defensively.
I still think he looks like a bouncer.
Well, you know what? He could bounce on the side, and he may be able to help the Cardinals, who need a lot of help, at like Mike linebacker. 2-0. Three and one on Walker.
What I've seen so far early from Carson is not afraid to pitch inside. You know, some guys are like, oh, my fastball is 90 to 93. I got to stay away. No, you have to pitch inside.
3-2. Well, as Palmquist now during spring training shares a clubhouse with a Kyle Freeland, who obviously does not have an overwhelming fastball, but Kyle will beat up right-handed hitters in with fastball, cutter, slider. So you learn a lot by observing, I'm sure, as well.
Sure, you've got to make sure you keep your ears open and you have that dialogue with somebody that's similar to your style of pitching.
This is in the air to shallow right, near foul territory, and Bouchard makes a nice running catch to end the first inning. So a base hit by Marte, and then Palmquist gets McCarthy, Moreno, and Walker in succession. We'll see the Rockies offense when we come back.
The power of baseball goes beyond the
Well, you may recall it was a rough start for Sean Bouchard last year, but a wonderful finish. He was out most of the year with a torn bicep tendon, but he was terrific the final week of the season, homering in 4 out of his final 5 ball games. And Sean Bouchard, who throughout his minor league career has always had a high on-base percentage, he'll lead off for Buddy Black this afternoon in the Cactus League opener. Then Brenton Doyle, Nolan Jones, Montero, Tolia, Alan Trejo, Amador, Julio Carreras, and Willie McIver to face Tommy Henry for probably a couple innings. Tommy Henry, left-hander. He's a Michigan man.
Yeah, University of Michigan led the Wolverines to the 2019 College World Series Finals. They did lose to Vanderbilt, but a lot of teams have lost to Vanderbilt lately. Last season, 16 starts for the D-backs. Had a really nice game against the Rockies back on May 31st, where he tossed 7 scoreless innings, only gave up a couple hits, struck out 7.
Bouchard, a patient hitter. He's going to work counts. Here's the 1-0 from Henry, and that's in there.
Well, I think that's the value Sean brings, is that ability to see some pitches, to work a pitcher. I think the Rockies need to do a little bit better job of that this year.
Well, that's something they're focused on too. I mean, Huey, do you think being able to stay within the strike zone is a learned trait?
For certain guys, there's other guys it's just innate in them. You know, you had it from Little League on, but you can learn how to do it.
They dropped a curveball in there, and Bouchard is gone on strikes with Brenton Doyle coming up. Let's take a look at how the gloves align for the Diamondbacks. Jock Peterson is in left, Barossa in center, Jake McCarthy is in right field. Perdomo is one of the better young shortstops in the game. Marte is next to him at second. Suarez and Walker on the corners. We talked about Moreno both offensively and defensively. This is up the middle, and this is a good start to spring training for Brenton Doyle. And as he circles first base, you know, obviously he's a great threat to run, but his whole focus throughout the offseason, fellas, and throughout spring training is making more contact.
Well, he had to. There was too many times last year that his speed wasn't in play because he wasn't making contact. And I really applaud Brenton, because it even started last year in September, where he started to work on his swing and make some mechanical adjustments. That's really hard to do during the season.
So here's Nolan Jones. And you remarked about this a few minutes ago in our open, that Nolan Jones did not have a good spring training. He came over from Cleveland and really struggled. And he said, you know, I always typically start slow. So he was in Albuquerque initially. In the air left field, Jock Peterson. Out number 2. So Eleris Montero is coming up. Brenton Doyle last year stole 22 bases and a high percentage. Nolan Jones with 20. The all-time rookie record 27 by Dexter Fowler. That's down and in. Both of you guys had the ability to steal bases early in spring training.
It's hard.
You're probably going station to station.
Yeah, at least for me it was, just because you're not used to that quick start. You're still trying to get the timing issue. Now give me another week, and then I feel like my legs are probably underneath me a little bit better.
Was it important to you, Huey, to get 4 or 5 attempts in spring training?
Yeah, I think so. It's just like anything else. You want to make sure that you have all those boxes of spring training checked off.
Well, Doyle takes off, and Montero hits the ball straight away. And that's an easy play for Barossa. So Tommy Henry leaves one on after the Doyle base hit. No scores. We go to inning number 2 in the Cactus League opener.
It's time.
Makes a grab. Another outstanding catch.
What a play by the Gold Glove candidate.
Out at home plate. What a throw by Britton Doyle.
What can't this kid do defensively?
Dives and he makes the catch.
Takes away extra bases.
Out at the plate. Right on the money. Oh, what a grab in left center field. Does that man cover real estate?
Britton Doyle, you are sensational.
He is sensational, and one of the unique things, there are guys that can track the ball down, but he also brings the element of one of the absolute best arms in all of baseball, and accurate arms.
Well, that was a great thing last year of having Nolan Jones in left and Britton in center. They could cover the Ponderosa, as we like to say, at Coors Field, but they had the strong arm. We had the outfield assist. I was just wondering, I mean, we had the privilege of watching him each and every game, so we thought he was a Gold Glover. But then towards the end of the season, I was like, okay, now word's gotten around that he's going to get the votes to win a Gold Glove. Because at first I wasn't quite sure. But then people were like, no, he deserves it.
He also had all the stats that backed it. You know, outs above average. He was off the charts with route efficiency. It was everything. It wasn't just, you know, eye test anymore. You have enough with the fielding Bible to prove it.
3-1 to Jock Peterson, and that is ball 4. So Palmquist loses Peterson. So he goes to first, leading off with Eugenio Suarez coming up.
We're talking about Britton Doyle. You do not want to miss this, folks, because on Saturday, April 6th, the first 15,000 fans through the gates will receive a Britton Doyle Gold Glove t-shirt. And that's brought to you by our good friends at Brakes Plus.
So here's the veteran Suarez. Came to prominence with the Cincinnati Reds, slugging third baseman with Seattle last year. And ball 1 on Suarez. Carson Palmquist, all likelihood to work 2 innings.
Well, I think for Suarez, 162 games last year, he's going to stop the revolving door that's been third base for the Diamondbacks.
Well, if you're watching us, you found us, obviously. Make sure you tell your friends and your neighbors and other Rockies fans how you can watch. And all the spring games are free on Rockies.tv. That just missed. And again, there'll be additional news about cable and satellite options as we move closer to opening day, March 28th, right down here in the desert.
Set.
Yeah, it'll be the Rockies and Diamondbacks.
Just have to change hotels. That's it.
It's a couple years ago, same thing happened.
Yeah.
The Rockies opened down here in Arizona.
The players love it. Like, Rockies players love it when opening day is here.
Three and 2. And he came back and got the strikeouts. Third strikeout for Palmquist. And with 1 gone, that'll bring up Geraldo Perdomo.
Boy, 3 off-speed pitches for Carson for the strikeout. Great shot from our rail cam too, right on top of the Rockies dugout. Slick look.
I love it. We have a wire cam now, which is just tremendous, and the rail cam on top of the dugout. The company that brings that camera to us is Defy. And we like those folks now.
Very much.
These are great shots. Well, Huey, it's just another camera angle that Spilly will try to monopolize.
That's right.
It's okay.
Oh, 2 to Perdomo. And he got him out on his front side. Alan Trejo. 2 retired.
That's what the Rockies worked on today, right before their batting practice, was pop-up priority.
Pop fly priority, right? I bet you loved that particular morning in spring training.
What is my line about pop-ups?
No bad hops.
No bad hops.
But you played in Chicago. And,
I didn't say anything about the wind.
Yeah, so
or the sun.
There may not be bad hops, but there's some challenges.
Yeah.
Ivan Melendez, the DH.
His nickname is the Hispanic Titanic.
Love it. It's a great nickname.
Well, he played at the University of Texas, and he's actually really close with Troy Tulowitzki. And so you've kind of paid attention to this guy's career because of the nickname and because he has big-time power potential.
Yeah, he hit a bunch of home runs in college. 2-1. Hit a bunch of home runs last year.
Yeah, I was looking at the OPS.
96 games. you trotting around the bases 30 times. Just that swing. Offensive count, 2-1. And, you know, a guy that's, 90, 91, but because of, it's coming out of the jersey and different arm angle, you see some tardy swings.
Yeah, and we've seen that so far in this first inning and 2/3 for Carson. I think the toughest thing, too, for a young pitcher when he's just coming out and really making the opening day start of spring training, you want to impress, but how many pitches are you able to command, really? Well, so far he's done them. Fastball, slider, changeup.
2-2 and another foul ball. One of the interesting things about him, and Spilly, I'll take you back to one of your old teammates, Josh Fogg. Josh Fogg, for the most part at the University of Florida, was a closer, and then he transitioned to being a starter in the big leagues, or in pro ball initially. And that's the same deal pretty much with Carson Palmquist. You see it a lot the other direction, not as frequently, where you go from a late inning guy as an amateur to a starter. And you know what? A very impressive first performance in front of Buddy Black and his coaching staff. He works 2 scoreless innings, a hit, a walk, 4 strikeouts for the Miami product, Carson Palmquist.
Power base.
Well, last year, so much conversation, especially early on, about the rule changes, the pitch clock, the size of the bases, and it had an impact. You see that almost 3/4 of a run more from 2023 to 2022. Stolen base percentage up, attempts way up, time of game down 24 minutes. And it may go down a little bit more this year, fellas, because the pitch clock with no one on base, with someone on base instead of 20 seconds is going to be 18. As Michael Tolia steps in and takes ball 1 from Tommy Henry.
I really enjoyed it last year. I didn't know how it was going to start out with the pitch clock. Everybody got used to it, but I liked the more action, more runs, higher batting average, stolen base, and less time, just dead time. I think that was the key for me, to go down into the 240s.
Well, you liked it for dinner reservations. I liked it because it brought 6 million fans. 6 million more fans came through the gates last year. I think part of it is, Baltimore and Cincinnati, but pace of game. I mean, it's an enjoyable evening with your family if you can get to a game and you're home in less than 3 hours.
Yeah, 100%. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find many people who, after watching the whole season last year, felt like it wasn't a good thing.
I will say this, though. We were down on the field before the game, and they brought out the larger base. And that's still a little for me, hard to envision.
See, I grew up in the New York area, and there was a pizza place we used to go to called John the Baker, and it was great pizza, right? And that just it reminds me of going to John the Baker.
John the Baker.
John the Baker, and it's a pizza pie right there. 3-2 on Tolia. Michael, former first-round pick out of UCLA. And the foul tip is held. So Henry with his second strikeout as he gets Tolia. That'll bring up Alan Trejo.
Well, let's not forget also that that runner's lane going down towards first base is going to be widened. I think that's part. Stay away from some of the ambiguity of that rule. Less collision chance.
Strike on Trejo. To simplify it, if you're on the grass and then
that's bad.
It's bad. But as long as you're on the dirt,
that's good.
When in that running lane, as opposed to the fully defined running lane, no swing.
Yeah. So just envision that. The grass of the infield, bad. Dirt,
good.
Good.
I like that. I like simple. Trejo off the end of the bat rolls one to Suarez. 2 outs.
Ground out to third base. Bad.
And here comes Adel Amador, who, depending on who you subscribe to, Baseball America, ESPN, MLB.com, listed as the Rockies, most frequently as the Rockies' top prospect and one of the top prospects in all of baseball. He has a great hit tool. Hits from both sides of the plate, has the ability to steal a bag. Originally a shortstop, looks like he's going to settle in at second base. But at every level, he just hits. And he's got a little pop, too. Oh, and 2.
He kind of fits the prototype second baseman size when you think about it. He's not big, right? 5'10"-ish. But we're seeing a lot more major league hitters. They're starting to shrink down again because there's such an advantage with the smaller strike zone.
And short arms, right?
Yeah, you want to have short arms because it's quicker to the baseball and it's harder to get your wallet.
You've already talked about dinner reservations and getting to your wallet.
Right. You know what? I'm going to resemble that remark throughout the first portion of the season, Spilly. And that will end the inning. So Tommy Henry, a couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 second. No scores. We go to inning number 3. Cactus League opener, Rockies and Diamondbacks.
Power.
Spring training baseball, the first Rockies game of 2024, and a tradition like nothing else. Only in spring training does the coaching staff sit on the on-deck circle. Buddy, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Spilly. Good to see you. Welcome. Great to have you down here.
Why do you think, why do we sit as a coaching staff on the field when that never happens during a major league game?
Isn't it crazy? I think it's, I think some ballparks, lend itself to that. I know, some of the older parks in Florida, way back when, there were small dugouts and you had a lot of players. And I think it sort of necessitated that, the coaches come out, out of the dugout, and it's just sort of carried over to a tradition. It gives us a chance in here to, talk a little bit, not being with earshot of the players about certain things. So it's good, but you'll find that the coaches, we're in and out of the dugout all the time. making moves with players, talking to players. But as you see, the Diamondbacks are doing the same. But a lot of times it's I think the dugouts get crowded. We got like 100 guys in there with coaches and players.
All right, so Carson Palmquist looked really good. Give me a feel for him. I mean, that was my first chance of seeing him. He kind of had that little crafty lefty feel about it. What did you like about what you saw?
I like that, he was around the zone, right? I think that there was, his pitches weren't, big misses. It looked like, again, I'll look at the video, but the misses were small. He got some strikeouts, got some swing throughs on the fastball, even though it's 90, 91 miles an hour, so there's deception there. That's what we've been told from our player development people. But, he comes with, an arsenal that we think is going to play in the big leagues. Had a very successful collegiate career. He's built the right way as far as poise. We're going to keep a close eye on him this season.
All right, now we get Jeff Criswell, who just struck out his first batter. And as you're watching, I mean, you have so many players that you have to lay eyes on. How is the evaluation for players that are, get a chance to pitch in front of you for maybe one outing?
Yeah, it's, these guys are, trying to make most of their opportunity in front of the major league coaches, right? In front of, all the coaches in the organization basically are here. Our executives are up watching from up top. But guys want to make an impression. I think that's the thing that stands out for me when it comes to young pitchers trying to break through. And Jeff is, right in that group of young pitchers. He was in AAA last year. We got him from Oakland. He's got a good arm, good life fastball with a breaking ball and a feel for a change. So, he's a guy that could potentially help us this year.
We spent a little time. So unique to Salt River Field this year is a new pitching lab. We know that. You guys are using a little technology, a little bit different. How nice is it to have it within steps of where you guys are at in spring training?
I mean, we got a wonderful facility to start with, and to add this lab in a place strategically within the confines of our ballpark situation. It's wonderful, and our guys. Are using it. It's up and functional. We got Brandon Stone, who's our sports science director, leading the charge with a lot of our coaches who are up to speed with the technology. So it's going to be a really benefit to our players. As you know, technology these days is becoming a big part of baseball. So, we're really excited about what the lab can bring to our guys.
I mean, I love sitting down here for a couple reasons, buddy. It feels like the pace of game, you can notice it, but also behind us, you got a grandbaby. You got the family right over our shoulders, buddy.
Yeah, Hallie Heck right back there. Her first spring training game. She's fired up. She's got the Rocky T-shirt on. She's watching our young guys. So she's gonna grow up to love baseball.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, Jess is back there. Nan, our favorite team mom, is back there. Buddy, when you start going through, getting the game feels, seeing the adrenaline for some of these players, do you notice anything mechanically that changes from practice of the off season to getting into game mode again?
Well, you see a little bit of the effort level ramp up a little bit, especially with the pitchers, the young pitchers. And I think, this time of year, early in spring, the pitchers are a little bit ahead of the hitters, right? Guys haven't seen a lot of live pitching. Pitchers feel good. They're amped up. They're turning the ball loose. You see a little bit of effort on both sides, especially with the younger players.
So Criswell, 2 strikes against Jake McCarthy, who already struck out. See you later, Jake. All right, so take me through that pitch. 0-2, kind of set up fastball in. Now you see a little breaker right there. How important is it to get some results early?
It's good. It's confidence for these guys, right? They want to get off to a good start. And, with Jeff, like I mentioned earlier, he wants to show us what he can do. And I like the sequence there, 2 good high confidence. But, for me, as you know, every year is different and anything can happen. And that's sort of our mantra. And our guys, this is a different looking team than last year. You're going to see some of our young guys make an impact on our club. So,
sweet. No problem. See, you don't have to ever panic. It's good recovery, buddy. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's always awesome to be down here. All right, to the bottom of the third inning. Rockies and Diamondbacks. First game of spring training.
No scores. We go to the bottom of the third inning with Jeff Houston and Ryan Spilborghs and our entire gang. I'm Drew Goodman. Whether you're watching on Rockies.tv or Diamondbacks.tv, welcome to Baseball 2024, Cactus League style. And it's just great to be in the sunshine of Scottsdale. And fun to see hardball again as a new season rapidly approaches. We mentioned this a moment ago as you watched Josh Green warm up, that the Rockies and Diamondbacks will start the regular season against one another, a 4-game set in downtown Phoenix. So Josh Green is the new arm after 2 very good innings from Tommy Henry, and Julio Carreras will get his first spring training at bat. Another in a long line of very good-looking position player prospects for the Rockies.
Yeah, and watching him today take ground balls on the backfield prior to the game, and he was taking ground balls with Ryan McMahon, and you could just see the athleticism. I think that was the thing, and the strong arm for third base for Julio.
And this gets redirected to Marte, and Marte makes a nice play and gets Carreras by a step.
We have the Diamondbacks, what, 15 times a year now? It used to be 18, 19 times. It could be a little less than that, but watching Ketel Marte do his thing year after year after year, it's, whether they ran him out to center field for...
He was good center field.
Yeah, he was. I think it's wise just to put him at second base and just let him do his thing there.
Batting in the 9th spot, the catcher, Willie McIver. And that's off the plate, ball 1. Josh Green out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, originally a 14th round pick of the Diamondbacks in 2018 out of southeastern Louisiana.
We missed some time last year, had some right elbow inflammation. In the year AA in Amarillo.
Played Mexico last year.
Well, that's usually what happens when you've missed some time and you don't get the innings that you need or the at-bats if you're a position player.
Two balls, 2 strikes on McIver. Rockies have 1 base runner so far. Brent Doyle had a base hit up the middle. Doyle, who so frequently occupied the 9th spot in Buddy Black's batting order last year, in this first day of spring training, batting second. Was there a number of at-bats, Huey, that you were looking to get, and every player's different, before the regular season began?
Yeah, I think 40 is a pretty comfortable number. Some guys might even like to get up to 50. You definitely have to be in the mid-30s just to see the spin, the rotation, the arm slot. Is my timing down? All the things that you're looking for during spring training. And it's really different, too, depending on where you are in your career. Are you a young guy trying to establish yourself? Well, you got to be ready to go right out of the gate. You got to say, hey, like some of these young guys we're seeing, they got to show their at-bats. Other guys might attack spring training differently. You're talking about a Charlie, Chris Bryant, those type of guys. For the Diamondbacks, Ketel Marte, Christian Walker. They might be trying to work on something for the first 10 or 15 at-bats before they start to roll in and really ramp up.
Oh. We talk about it every spring. There's a difference between, veterans like a Marte, like a Charlie Blackmon, like a Chris Bryant, and guys that are fighting, scratching to make a club.
Yes.
you don't have the luxury
No,
to
you
say,
don't.
hey, I'm working on this, Skip.
Nope, it's results the first game.
Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike on Sean Bouchard. Sean caught looking his first time up. Two hops at Suarez and a 1-2-3 inning for Josh Green. We move on to inning number 4. No score in the Cactus League opener between the Rockies and Diamondbacks.
It's
Well, Todd Helton is now a Hall of Famer. The wait is over. Took him 6 years. He joins Larry Walker as former Rockies to be enshrined in the Hall of Fame. And I know I speak for everyone who's whether a fan or part of this organization. Absolutely thrilled for Todd. So deserving. There was a period of about 6-7 years where he was, for me, maybe the toughest out in baseball. Certainly one of the top 3 or 4 toughest outs in baseball.
Well, he could foul off pitches that nobody else could to get him another pitch. How many times did we see him like wait, and almost like he took the baseball out of the catcher's glove to foul it off?
That slider's in there for a strike. Jeff Criswell, who was teammates, by the way, Tommy Henry at Michigan for a couple of years, getting his second inning of work. Spilly, I know you're particularly thrilled because Todd was your teammate.
I was particularly thrilled for Todd as my teammate. I'm also particularly thrilled for a former teammate of mine too, Charlie Blackmon, who is 14 years. Let's talk about Todd Helton for a second. How big of a deal is it that he's a Hall of Famer?
I'm really proud of Todd. He deserves to get in. It is a big deal. It's really hard to make an argument against it, to be honest. But to do it all under one roof there in Denver, really special that he's in. So I'm happy for him. I'm excited. Can't wait to hear him give a speech. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
You might have to write the speech for him. Is that something that you would consider doing? Would you actually help it, or maybe you can go behind him into his hands?
Yeah, it's just that's not in his nature. I'll say that he doesn't seem like a big speech guy. So I am excited to see how it turns out. He was just such a good player. I was really lucky to have been able to play with him, watch him do his thing. And he was a little older when I played with him, and it just made me wish I had really seen him in his prime. In his prime.
So, for you, I mean, you still look like you're in fantastic shape, which we know you are. We were showing some of the numbers. 14 years now as a Rocky. How have you been able to do that?
Just keep your memory really short, right? Just do it one day at a time, one at bat, one at pitch, and just try to keep adjusting too. The game's changed a lot And it changes every year. It's getting better and better. It's getting played faster, and the players are bigger, faster, stronger. I'm just really lucky, thankful to be healthy.
Okay, so on that note, I mean, when you go in the off season, you train different, probably a little bit as you're getting older. Does the swing change at all? I mean, like, how do you feel about swing changes, especially as you've seen the league adjust?
I think you have to be able to make adjustments more readily. Like, right, I think it seems like more guys are throwing harder. My leg kick's smaller than it used to be, right? So that's more of an adjustment. I wouldn't call it a swing change. So I think, also one benefit of having that experience is you know how to make those adjustments a little bit quicker than, maybe a rookie.
All right, give me a sense of 2024 Rockies. You're seeing a lot of young players. How are you feeling about them?
We've got a lot of guys at camp, a lot of new names, and a lot of really good young players with maybe not upper level minor league experience, but really impressive lower level minors. And then we do obviously have some guys knocking on the door and some guys that have big league time that and then like rookies from last year that made an impact, and I'm looking for a big step forward from those guys.
All right, Charlie, it's great to see you, buddy. Happy spring training. Bye, guys.
Great to see Charlie, and it goes without saying that he is going to be in phenomenal shape. You know what? Charlie's going to be 88, and he's going to be in phenomenal shape. That's just who he is.
Just might have that fly rod in his hand.
Oh, he'll have a fly rod in his hand, no question. 3-2 on Jock Peterson. Walker takes off, and it's fouled off. Charlie will primarily DH this year. You know how much Charlie loves to play, and he will get some time in right field, and he'll probably get, a few more days off to keep the legs fresh and get some of that young talent that either got to taste the big leagues, that's ball 4 last year, or, as he mentioned, guys that are knocking at the door that will avail opportunities for whether it's a Montero or Hunter Goodman, who we saw late last year, to continue to get time.
Well, and that's the thing with having a 14-year veteran like Charlie, that line of communication with the manager and Bud, being able to say, hey, maybe I need a day off here, or trying to give him a day off with the off day on the schedule. All those things add up. And for Charlie, it will be, my guess, early next week before we see him in a ball game.
Probably same thing for Chris Bryant, and those guys are fine. We saw Chris earlier. Chris looks great. Charlie, you just heard from. But again, veteran guys, luxury of delaying their first game experience. And you heard Buddy, it gives them more opportunity to look at a large number of young guys that, Buddy's aware of the numbers, and he'll see them for a minute or two, during spring training. Maybe when he has some time, he'll go to the backfield, but his focus every year obviously is on the big league team. So some of these guys that you hear about that were at Fresno or Spokane, he's not quite as familiar with, at least how they play the game. He's aware of all the numbers. He's aware of all the reports. But now he's getting more familiar with that next generation.
And to be able to watch them not just in an inter-squad game, but against another club, another organization.
Ball and 2 strikes on Suarez.
For me right now, you look at Jeff Bannister, bench coach for Arizona, and of course Mike Redmond, bench coach for the Rockies. This is their time to shine, because they're trying to get 100 different guys. Make sure they get their at-bats in, make sure they get everything down in the bullpen in.
Good heater at 96, and that strikes out Suarez. Perdomo will come up. There's Mike Redmond, former big league catcher, former big league manager, of course, with the Marlins. And what Huey was referring to, and I'll let you expound on this, is that typically the bench coach is the organizer of spring training and how things are going to work on a day-to-day basis. All right, today's rundowns. Today we're going to work on outfield cuts today. All of those things.
Yes, and trying to make sure that you get the right grouping of guys together. Guys that, because you don't want to have, say, your double play combination split up. Guys that you think are going to be in the big leagues together. Of course, for the Rockies, it's pretty easy, and for Arizona, it's pretty easy. So you're going to have those guys always in the same groups. And that's where the bench coach comes into play, because they're trying to set up hitting groups. They're trying to set up the outfield groups, the pitching groups, the catchers. And so it's a big challenge. It's almost like a big puzzle to those guys.
Inside, 2 balls and a strike on the switch hitting shortstop Gerardo Perdomo. Criswell gave up a hit to Walker, lost Jock Peterson, so 2 on after the strikeout of Suarez, 1 gone. Off speeds away, 3-1. Criswell scolding himself. Didn't feel like he finished that changeup.
You mentioned teammates with Henry in Michigan, also with Carl Kaufman at Michigan.
That's a real good pitching staff. Bouchard in right. You were watching earlier today, and we were talking about this. My favorite throw when watching outfielders, get Spilly in here, throw is the right fielder throw to third base. That's my favorite one to watch. And you were watching Yanquiel Fernandez. We're going to get a pitching change throw from right field.
It was a thing of beauty. I mean, it was straight on the line with a lot of carry.
So Chance Adams is going to come in, trying to secure the final out in the 4th inning. Jeff Criswell is going to depart. 3 strikeouts for Criswell in an inning and 2/3.
Power baseball goes.
Back to Salt River Field to Talking Stick. No score. Top of inning number 4. 2 on 2 outs for the Rockies. And Chance Adams, 29-year-old, is going to be asked to get the final out of this 4th inning with Jeff Houston and Ryan Spilborghs and our tremendous crew. I'm Drew Goodman. Last year, the Rockies signed Chance Adams in May, and he was down in Albuquerque for the remainder of the season. Tommy John surgery a couple of years ago, some big league time with the Royals and Yankees in his past.
Yeah, 22 major league games with the Yankees. That was in 2018, 2019, the KC in 2020. You mentioned it. Missed almost all of 21 and definitely all of 22 with Tommy John surgery. So he's just working his way back.
Ivan Melendez struck out swinging in his first at bat. That was against Carson Palmquist. Walker at second, Jock Peterson at first. Now, for Chance Adams, he's an Arizona kid. He went to Chaparral High School here in Scottsdale, which is traditionally a power. Then on to Yavapai for a couple of years, and then to Dallas Baptist. And Adams comes on and does his thing. Nicely done as he strikes out Melendez. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Again, no score. Rockies and Diamondbacks.
Fans Our multi-game suite package offers the best value while providing the perfect setting for entertaining your VIP clients. You select the game, date, location, and number of tickets as you go. Opening day and summer concert options are also available, so call 303 Rockies for more information.
New pitcher for the Arizona Diamondbacks, Chris Rodriguez. He's going to take over, and the Rockies have 2, 3, and 4 in their lineup. Brenton Doyle, Nolan Jones, Eleris Montero. Tomorrow's game will feature the Rockies and Diamondbacks again. That ball game will be available on Diamondbacks.tv. And the fastball from Rodriguez misses ball 1. Brenton has the only hit for the Rockies. He's the only base runner for the Rockies. He rolled a single up the middle on the first pitch he saw. And this is slowly hit to Suarez. It'll test him. And he may have been in the American League, but he got the scouting report. You know what? He wasn't going to go leather there. He knew he had to try to grab it with his bare hands. So Doyle with an infield hit, 2 for 2.
There's some English on that baseball too, and that's a hard play for the third baseman. When it's hopping like that, you think, okay, I got it, I'm going to be able to do it, but then that last spin doesn't allow you to grip the baseball like you want. It slides out of your hand. Even for Suarez, he makes that play, it's going to be really close at first.
Jones lifted a fly ball to left, his initial at bat of spring training. Doyle, by the way, did look to run with Montero at the plate in the first, and Montero on the pitch hit a fly ball to center that ended the inning. If you're wondering if Doyle will try to take off.
Maybe. There's something we didn't talk about a whole lot last year because you kind of forget about it. It's mound visits. They reduced the number of mound visits this year too.
And you know what?
I think last year was 2.5 mound visits per game.
Do you ever remember one time mentioning mound visits in a ball game?
No.
So why not reduce it?
Yeah.
And it really truly still is 5 because it's 4, but if you get to the 9th inning, you get another one.
Right.
And a hot shot, and Marte makes the play. Perdomo to first, and that's a 4-6-3 double play, and that was well done.
Wow. Slick first from Marte to be able to dive and get that, and then get it out of his glove to Perdomo. Right out of the wire cam, getting that look. Marte sliding and then flipping it to Perdomo.
So here's Montero against Rodriguez, ball 1. This ball crushed high and deep left field. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. Up on the concourse. Wow. Well, we've seen it before. When he hits them, they stay hit.
449 feet. There's never been a question of Monty's power. And he opens up that front side after that foot gets down. Takes that 96-mile-an-hour sinking fastball inside. And one hops the concourse.
Totally is going to bounce out to end the inning, but the Rockies have the first run of the afternoon. Eleris Montero, who finished so strong last year, absolutely demolishes a baseball here in the 4th.
Power of baseball goes
Well, free agency continues on as spring training has already begun, and there's 4 very large names out there. In fact, probably 7 large names, if you will. Matt Chapman has struggled a little bit offensively. He's still out there. Jordan Montgomery, talented left-hander. Blake Snell is one of the elite pitchers in the game. Cody Bellinger is also out there. Tommy Pham, wherever Tommy Pham goes, they win. JD Martinez and Joey Votto late in his career, and this has kind of been an ongoing thing in baseball.
You know, there was some early movement, and there were some big contracts handed out, of course, with Shohei Ohtani being #1 on that list. But I look at that list, and now you'll see how things go early in camp and what kind of injuries other teams have. And then I think that's when a few of these guys, talking about a Blake Snell or Cody Bellinger. But I got to believe, though, for those guys, they're sitting at home. It's a little unnerving.
Well, the 4 on the left are all Scott Boras clients. And obviously, you know, Scott is a phenomenal agent. You know, I know owners probably don't always think that way.
Yeah.
But he gets his clients top dollar, and often it means playing the waiting game, which from an athlete standpoint,
that's hard.
It's got to be tough.
Well, and you guys know this offseason, there's a lot of waiting, not just because of free agency, but because of uncertainty with the RSN model. And Scott went so far as saying this last week that as much as people think it's him or turning down offers, his clients have not received offers, which is startling to me. When you think about it, it's February and those guys have not received offers from ball clubs.
Three and 2. Well, it's spring training, and you know there's always going to be a bunch of changes in the middle of the game, and a whole new trio in the outfield. And I'm excited about watching all these guys. Zach Veen's in left. Former high #1 pick. Jordan Beck out of Tennessee's in right. Bradley Zimmer is in center. And another top prospect, Drew Romo, is behind the plate now. Chance Adams with a strikeout of Jorge Barbosa.
No, it was Ivan Melendez.
Oh, he was up again?
Yeah, so I mean, this is spring training. I don't know if they felt like he didn't get a fair shake last night because he struck out 2 pitches.
Yeah, I thought there was only 2 strikes on him when they were running off the field.
Yeah, so they might have made a mistake and they recorrected it. So
that's the beauty of spring training. He's just like,
Torey Luvello,
sorry, do-overs.
Yeah, well, Torey Luvello can, you know, send a note to the commissioner's office, say, hey, we only got 26 outs. Not fair.
Well, either way, it still goes out as a strikeout because I had him as a strikeout.
Well, Melendez has struck out 3 times in 2 at-bats.
2 at-bats,
It's very difficult to do. Jorge Barbosa is at the plate. He struck out his first time. Chance Adams is going to give up a hit there, despite the leaping attempt of Adel Amador.
Well, we see that in the backfield where guys just lead off every inning.
Yeah.
Now we see it in the main field.
That's right. Well, Ketel Marte, single and a walk, and he's going to get a 3rd plate appearance. No Corbin Carroll today for the Diamondbacks, the Rookie of the Year last year. Such an integral part of the success that Arizona ultimately had.
I think what was neat last year is just the way the Valley and the fans rallied around the Diamondbacks, and watching all the crowds during the playoffs and, of course, the World Series.
That's the great thing about the game. You never know. You heard Buddy when he was talking with Spilly say that Buddy, in front of the team kind of reminded his guys that, the game's played on the field. It's not played by journalists. It's not played, through analytics and modeling. Yeah, it gives you a feel. We understand that. But you go out on the field and you know, there's no telling what a group can produce. He doesn't want to limit them based on age. That was blocked by Romo, but on the pitch, Barbosa took off, so he has a stolen base. So he's at second now for Marte. 2-2 on Marte. Spilly?
Yeah, I got Nolan Jones down here getting ready to, after first spring training action. I mean, first off, how's the offseason? How are you feeling?
Yeah, it was great. I feel good. Excited to get back out here, a little nervous. So get some nerves out of the way and get back to it.
Do you really feel nerves on the first day of spring training?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, get to come out here and live out my dream and be out here. You know, I haven't been doing this in a little while. Been training for it for months, but yeah, it's fun to get back out here and be with the guys.
I know for you, I mean, you spent so much of your career as an infielder, as a third baseman. Now you're dedicated to the outfield. I know I've talked to Ron Gideon. Numerous people have been saying, like, you should watch Nolan right now working on his footwork and everything. How much do you think you can improve defensively?
Yeah, I think there's a ton of room for improvement, obviously always, but I think especially defensively, you know, my reads, my footwork, like you talked about, stuff we're working on and talking about every day. So, you know, I got Doyle out there to help me, which definitely makes my life easier, but, you know, I want to do my part too.
For you, I mean, after the success you had last year, what are you feeling inside? I mean, it's got to feel good knowing that you're a big leaguer. You don't have to worry about certain aspects of it. Can it feel like you just getting yourself prepared for 2024?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely getting myself prepared, but I think there's still more to prove. You know, I want to continue to get better, like I said, and go out and help this team win. I think we got a bunch of bright spots all over the field, a lot of guys getting healthy, and I think it's going to be a really exciting season.
Appreciate it, Nolan. It's good to see you, man.
Thanks, Billy.
All right.
And Nolan in his second at bat, he didn't have a 4-6-3 double play, but that only tells part of the story. That ball came off the bat hot at 106 miles an hour. And he hit righties and lefties last year. Power, speed. He is a marvelous young talent, and it was a tremendous trade by Billy Schmidt and the Rockies organization to get him from Cleveland about a year and change ago.
Well, I know there was a lot of chatter midway through the season last year from the Cleveland folks. Like, how'd they let him go?
Trejo will throw out McCarthy to end the inning. Barbosa is left at second base. Middle of 5. Rockies up 1-0 on the Montero homer.
The power of baseball goes beyond the field.
Well, spring training baseball is back in Arizona, and on Wednesday, part of a long-standing partnership with the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community, Rockies held a youth baseball and softball clinic at the facility. Players like Lucas Gilbreth, Ryan Feldner, Clinton Hurdle, several Rockies volunteers, they were there. There's also a partnership with Nike Diamond, which is also really important. I think anytime we get a chance to see players give back to the community, especially with a organization and with the long-term partnership with the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community, it's always special. I will tell you, Drew and Huey, back in 2011, when we opened up Salt River Fields, we had the pleasure of knowing the history of the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian communities. It's two separate tribes and how they came together to build arguably the jewel of spring training as far as a facility. And so having these type of events are really, really special, especially for the players.
Well, when you look at this facility too, it is the benchmark for everything now. The new ones that are being talked about are being built. It still does not rival this one. This is the Taj Mahal. They did not leave anything to chance.
No, they did not. Alan Trejo with a base hit against Connor Pilkington, who was with Cleveland and their organization the last couple of years, originally drafted by the White Sox out of Mississippi State. And Arizona has changed lines, wholesale changes. Adel Amador struck out swinging his first at bat. Again, the Rockies up 1-0 on a long home run by Montero up to the concourse. He almost hit it into the Diamondbacks facility, and this gets through Del Castillo. So Trejo will move up, probably be a pass ball. Three 3-0 on Amador. So looks down at Warren Schaefer. Warren Schaefer at third again. Ron Gideon at first on the coaching lines. Trejo bluffed like he was going. Amador on 4 pitches walk, so it's first and second, no one out, with Julio Carreras coming up.
Warren spinning the winner back home in Pittsburgh.
Rooting on his Steelers.
Yeah, they did make the playoffs, but lost in the first round.
That's a strike. I think that's one of the more remarkable sports facts of the last 50 years. That, well, a couple of things. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season.
Yes.
Right? And the Steelers, for over 50 years, have had 3 football coaches.
Yes.
That's fouled off. I think the Rooney family knows how to pick coaches.
Talk about benchmarks. That is.
Yeah. Fastball from Pilkington is up.
Whoa. A lot happening out there.
That was a large secondary lead for Adel Amador. Now he's looking behind him.
Well, he was just looking at Allen out at shortstop. Allen said, my bad, I started to take off, just didn't get a good jump. So as a trail runner, you have to make sure that that guy takes off and goes.
And Carreras goes down, 1 out. And that should bring up Drew Romo. First at bat for Drew, who spent most of last year in Hartford, came up very late in the year to Albuquerque. Switch hitting catcher. And this is lobbed into right center field. It's going to drop. Trejo cuts the bag at third. He's coming home. And the Rockies have a 2-0 lead. So Drew Romo on the first pitch he sees in Cactus League play 2024 with an RBI single.
I kept his hands inside the baseball. Just soft floater out to right center field. That ball was left up. Good read out at second base by Trejo. Scored easily.
Jordan Beck, and I am fascinated by this guy, Ryan Spilborghs.
He's athletic?
Yeah, big, strong, athletic, can run.
I mean, he looks the part.
Well, you know who loves him, and not just because he went to Tennessee, but Todd Helton's really big on Beck. This is toward the middle of the diamond, and the slip. That's still going to turn into a. Was there an out call at second as well?
There was.
Did Romo get? No, he's out. Yeah, that is a double play.
That
Well, if
should
it's
be
a double
the
play, it's the end of the
right?
inning. We've had confusion twice at the end of innings.
It's first game for the umpires too.
Yeah, we're going to play. We played 2 outs 1 inning. The Rockies were lobbying to play 4 outs there. Well, you know, give it a try. Rockies get another run on the Romo base hit. 2-0 they lead.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies.
Thank you, Bob Costas. 2-0. The Rockies leading the Diamondbacks as we embark on the top of the 6th inning. Eleris Montero with the only extra base hit in the game. It was a big fly to left. Went an estimated 449 feet. And now look at Evan Justice, who came up late last year. Hard throwing left-hander out of NC State by way of Richmond, Virginia.
A 5th round pick in 2021 for Colorado.
This is Blaze Alexander at the plate. Rockies have made a bunch of changes as well. We'll get to in a moment. And that's pulled down the left field line. And Alexander heading towards second is in with a double. It'll bring up Kevin Newman.
Veteran Kevin Newman now.
I was going to say, he's been around. Newman, a former 1st-round pick of the Pirates out of the U of A. Now, when you were at the registrar's office in Tucson before you moved on to Glendale and changed your mind and said, I'm going to embark on a baseball career, as you see the changes for the Rockies, were you ever officially a student?
No, never a student of the U of A.
No, I was asking you about Glendale. Were you ever officially a student?
Well, I was enrolled.
You were part of the baseball program?
Yes. The Gauchos of Glendale.
What?
The Gauchos at UCSB.
Yeah, 2 Gauchos. Coach Dave Grant.
That's fouled back.
That's what we were called, Spilly. The Glendale Community College Gauchos.
Do you know what a gaucho is?
Yeah, do you?
Oh, come on. How many times have you heard me talk about the gauchos?
A lot.
What's a gaucho?
It's a, Spanish cowboy, right?
Argentinian cowboy.
Okay.
Middle of the diamond, and it's knocked down, but Coco Montes couldn't field it cleanly. So Newman reaches. They're going to call that an error. So first and third, no outs. And this is Andre Chaparro. Off speed, 0-1. On the corner, 0-2. Billy, how'd the Gauchos do this weekend? This past weekend?
They had a crazy. What, they played Campbell. I think they scored like 1 million runs.
It's a lot of runs. Swung on and missed. Throw to third.
Do it.
Safe. Boy, that was a great throw by Romo. Great throw to Aaron Schunk. Bang bang play, and they almost picked off Blaze Alexander.
And that's a design called play too. And the throw's got to be just right from the catcher, because you got to clear yourself from the right-handed batter. So you go behind him and then right over the top as that timing and that throw comes down.
A.J. Vukovic is at the plate.
I think one thing you might notice with catchers this spring training is that their equipment's a little different. So as you're watching Romo behind home plate, you notice that there's a little bit more padding on the top of the catcher's knees, because a lot of guys are going to this one-legged stance.
For catchers, especially guys that, you know, for the Rockies, you have Elias Diaz, who's their #1, and the Rockies got Jacob Stallings, former Gold Glover, as their #2. But you know the veteran guys. In the case of Jacob Stallings, he's got to work with, you know, the Freelands of the world, and, you know, and the Hermans of the world to get to know them, because he hasn't been here. But it's so important also, some of these young arms that you may either see early in the season or later on in the season, you want to get a feel for their ball movement. Justice can do that. He's got his second out as he gets back-to-back strikeouts, gets Vukovic.
It's good to see that strikeout from Evan, but you're right. I think that's always the challenge for young catchers when they come in and trying to get to know each other and trying to get to know the pitchers. Remember when Tony Walters first came over and he did that flashcard system? He would have his wife, you know, put like a picture of somebody, and then on the back would be the pitcher's name, just so he could make sure that he got it all down, you know, as he's coming in as a new guy.
I wonder if he did that again, because he's back as a coach.
That's right. He's back in the organization. He's transitioned from his playing days to he's going to work down here in the complex. And I believe he's going to be the bench coach.
Yes. And that's a great hire.
Tremendous hire. Remember Spilly's first year with us? He did the same thing with his broadcast brethren.
I still have to do it.
Yeah. 1-2. I wouldn't think facing Evan Justice would be a comfortable AB. Kind of love that wire cam, huh? Deep short. Throw to second. Out at second. What a play by Connor Kaiser. Just in time to Coco Montez to get the force on Newman. And the Rockies hold the Diamondbacks off the board.
MLB Ballpark app will complete your next visit to your favorite ballpark. You can buy and manage game tickets, redeem offers, access exclusive content, and so much more. So download the MLB Ballpark app today.
So here we go, bottom of the 6th inning with the Rockies leading 2-0 with Jeff Houston and Ryan Spilborghs. I'm Drew Goodman, and on the mound is Brandon Hughes for Arizona. He's an interesting guy. He was with the Cubs last year, and then he had a knee injury, and the numbers when he was up prior to the knee injury, not great. Got a bunch of appearances with him in 2022. He went to Michigan State, and he was an outfielder there. He could really run. He had 30 stolen bases one year with the Spartans, and then in pro ball he converted because of his arm.
He tried it. Yeah, he tried it at first, you know, for a couple of years trying to do the outfield thing and realized that that wasn't going to work. So he went from the outfielder to pitcher in 2018.
Bradley Zimmer trying to make the Rockies club. Guy has been in the big leagues.
To me, Zimmer's a little bit like Nolan Jones. Maybe a change of scenery will allow him to unleash that full potential.
Two and two. Stayed off that. 3-2. Zimmer, 31-year-old. Been in the big leagues with Cleveland, Toronto, Philadelphia. This is to shallow left, and it's going to drop. And Zimmer, who has good speed, is going to end up at second. As Vukovic dove, couldn't make the play. Once the ball kicked in front of him, heads up base running by Zimmer. It should be a straight up double.
Always nice in your first at bat with a new organization to get a base hit. All the good feels. As soon as you see this ball skip out of the glove of Vukovic in left field, Zimmer's looking at it. I can go ahead and make this and motor into second. You can see the easy running style.
Yeah, he has some speed. as well. You'd figure that. He plays center field. Zach Veen. Zach went and played winter ball because remember he had the broken wrist and he was out for a good portion of the season at Double-A last year, and he wanted to get those at bats made up. This is in the air to left, and Vukovic, I don't know if he sees it. Now he does. Right near the line, he makes the catch. So Veen's retired, one gone. Zimmer stays at second, and that'll bring up Hunter Goodman. He's going to pinch hit for Eleris Montero, the DH. Montero fly ball to fairly deep center field, and then a fly ball that went about 449 feet and bounced on the concourse in left. So Hunter Goodman, who did some good things when he was called up late last year.
Well, it was nice to see him get an opportunity after the huge numbers he put up in the minor leagues. He's earned that promotion.
Spilly, this guy is hit at every stop he has made. He really doesn't have a lot left to prove at the minor league level.
No, and I think last year for Goodman, he just ran out of gas. I mean, that's what it looked like towards the end of September. It was a long year. I mean, I love a good leg kick, especially if you're on time. And he has a repeatable swing. Also, you know, for spring training for a guy like Goodman, he's catching pens. And I think his number one tool is his hit tool, but he's still putting in the time, working behind the plate. You know, we saw him play some in the infield and in the outfield. I'm intrigued by his bat.
I'm with you. 2 balls and a strike on Hunter. Zimmer off second, 2-0 Rockies.
Reminds me a little bit of a guy that the Rockies have in their organization now, in Jordan Pacheco. Okay, they can play a lot of different possessions. Check maybe more in the infield, but he could also run behind the plate if you needed him to. But he hit.
Zimmer takes off for third, and he's in there. And he's going to have to go back because the ball actually hit Hunter Goodman on the foot. So it's a hit by pitch. So it'll be first and second with 1 out. And Coco Montes will come up.
Oh, back right foot.
Well, you remember Coco Montes last year when we saw him make his major league debut, he didn't wear batting gloves. And we asked his mom, hey, how come he doesn't wear batting gloves? She said, I used to buy him all the time and he wouldn't wear them. Well, Coco's wearing batting gloves.
Did his mom buy it, or did Michael Ponarelli hand it to him this year?
I don't know. Maybe it's something he worked on in the offseason. Putting on batting gloves.
Yeah. 950 OPS. That gets your attention. That was in Albuquerque last year. Coco, a Floridian. Two and one on Montes. Christian Robinson makes the catch. 2 outs. Aaron Schunk will get his first at bat. Another guy who has put up some good minor league numbers. He was in Albuquerque last year. He had some moments last spring training.
Huge difference between your first big league camp and your second. Just the comfort level. You know what to expect.
Schunk fouls it back. Do you remember the first big name you faced in a spring training game?
Trying to think back, because that was when we were sharing a complex with the Atlanta Braves in West Palm Beach. So I'm trying to think who that might have been, you know, because that was in 1988. I don't remember. I just remember it was against the Braves.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Shunk. And Shunk goes down swinging, so the Rockies leave 2 on in the 6th. We move to inning number 7. Colorado 2, Arizona nothing. Beautiful day in Scottsdale.
Power base.
Some new additions for the Rockies. If you missed it during the offseason, the former Gold Glover, Jacob Stallings, son of Kevin Stallings, outstanding basketball coach. He was signed in January, and he'll back up Elias Diaz. They were teammates. They were a tandem in Pittsburgh a few years back. Dakota Hudson comes from St. Louis. He was a free agent. And maybe the biggest offseason signing, Cal Quantrill, who finished very strong last year, coming off an injury with Cleveland. It's a guy who a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, was outstanding. So Cal Quantrill, in all likelihood, will be part of the Rockies rotation. Dakota Hudson will add starting pitching depth. It's Billy, the Quantrill one, kind of an under the radar move from a national perspective, but that's a solid move by the Rockies.
Well, I like it just because it gives you an arm that has been durable for the last couple of years. And in the case of Quantrill, I mean, he was a top overall pick for the Padres a bunch of years ago, so Bud knows him. He's had success with the Guardians. He won 15 games 1 year. I mean, if there's any, you know, we're hearing he's working on a new split finger, so that goes along with his sinker. Rockies have always looked for sinker ball pitchers. That's kind of been part of the dynamic of the organization. They like those Aaron Cooks, the Jason Marquez. So I think Quantrill falls in line with that.
Matt Cook's on the mound. And of course, Ivan Melendez is up for the 11th time in this ballgame.
Leading off every inning. Last season, 39 appearances for Matt. This is a career high as far as games.
And strike 3. And Melendez is going to go to Torey Lovullo and say, Torey, you know what? I'm good. Because
4 strikeouts and 3 at-bats.
He has 4 strikeouts and 3 at-bats. And if you don't know what we're talking about, well, we don't know what we're talking about either. But there was one inning where he struck out, but it was really strike 2. But the umpire, since Colorado had already come off the field, said, we're good.
Spring training.
Yeah, so he got the lead off the next inning, and he struck out again, this time on 3 strikes. Jorge Barroso, it's an odd thing. He's played every inning so far, center fielder.
Well, there's a rule with spring training players that come into the dugout. It's once the starters leave, the non-active players are allowed to go to the locker room, shower, and get out of here. So you're right, a guy like Barbosa, where all of his friends have left, all of his teammates that were watching him play have left, and now you're just playing for the fans that are remaining that really don't care if you get a hit or not.
And Cook has that pitch on by Barrosa.
I remember the first time I had the chance to be in a big league game in spring training, I called my parents. It's like, hey, I'm going to be on I'm going to be on the big league team. And he finally goes down. And so my parents were like, wait, you're going to be in the big leagues? And I was like, no. I'm doing a spring training game. Well, how do we watch it? When are you going to come in the game? I was like, I don't know, Mom. I'm number 89.
Did you get in that day?
No, but the best part, I mean, when you're in the minor leagues, and you get this, Huey, the best part about being a minor league call-up is the meal money.
Yeah.
You get meal money for a day, and that's
big league meal money.
Yeah, that's like winning the lottery for a minor leaguer.
Yeah, because you can buy 2 pizzas.
Yeah, you're gonna go to Applebee's and get the pickup.
Spilly still has that.
Yeah.
Per diem.
Yeah, I get the Oreo with the whipped cream and 2 straws is great. So, I mean, that's why I love watching this. You also get a glimmer into, possibly a glimpse into the future of a future big leaguer that might have a long career.
Number 89, that was your first big league camp number?
Yep, number 89.
Number 73.
They thought highly of you.
Yeah.
2-1 on Christian Robinson, 2-2.
Well, and good hecklers know that the bigger the number, the worse the prospect you are, and if they let you know, it's usually good comedy.
Well, that was a pretty efficient inning for Matt Cook, the veteran. He struck out the side. We'll stretch a little bit. You're allowed to do that, even at home. 2-0 Rockies.
And then put the ball in your hand.
Yesterday was photo day here at spring training. Which means Kyle Cooper took like 67,000 shots.
So much easier now, though, because you don't have to go take them to a dark room or whatever they call it and develop the film.
Right. You're dating yourself here.
I know, right?
There's our man Kyle Cooper.
You just take out the card, you put it on the computer, bing, bang, boom, got your picture.
So you know what? Growing up, because my mom especially loved photography, and we had a dark room.
Did you have a dark
room?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See?
Dakota Chalmers is on the mound, and this is the kid out of New Hampshire, Grant Levine.
Is it possible for baseball players to get any bigger?
There's some big folks now, aren't there? Good swing, 2-2. Three and 2 on Levine.
What do they have Levine listed at? 6'4"?
I will tell you momentarily. I don't like, a lot of times guys are listed the same height and weight as when they were, drafted. Levine draws a walk. Grant's listed at 6'4", 245.
Yeah, way bigger than that.
Yeah.
Fans, you can watch MLB.tv and stream 250 or more spring training games in every out-of-market game live or on demand. Blackout and other restrictions may apply, so visit MLB.tv for more details.
This is Connor Kaiser. Saw Connor quite a bit last spring training. That was a violation on Dakota Chalmers, so it's ball 1. It's our first violation of the spring.
Yeah.
Yeah, those 2 seconds matter.
That's right.
Levine takes off, throw to second, didn't get him. Well, big and strong and evidently some sneaky speed for the former second-round pick, high school kid out of the state of New Hampshire.
Well, why not? Show 'em what you got.
.3-0 on Kaiser. The Rockies in years past oftentimes had brought in fellas, that veteran super utility guy like Chris Owings. Remember, Chris was here for a couple of years. Harold Castro last year. Guys who could, run out and play center field, but also play in the middle infield. The Rockies did not do that this offseason. And Alan Trejo, who was, removed from the 40-man roster. Allen got the start today at shortstop. He's probably the closest guy you would think of who has the ability to play a number of different spots. And you have to have one of those guys.
You do, because think back to last year when Brendan Rodgers got hurt. You know who had the most starts and the most innings at second base last year? Harold Castro.
That's right.
I saw Chris Owings in a game yesterday. He's in camp with the Dodgers. I was watching a little bit of that Dodger-Padre game yesterday.
Dodgers scored a bunch of runs, didn't they?
Yeah, I lost track when it was 9-1.
Drew Romo 2 on, nobody out. Drew had an RBI single in his first at bat. Rockies up 2-0. Drew out of the Woodlands, which is in the Houston area, and he was thought to be the top defensive high school catcher in the country when the Rockies drafted him. He's also swung the bat well as a minor leaguer. 2-2. And again, he finished last year in AAA. So one would guess that that's where he'll start this year. 3-2 as Chalmers struggling to throw consistent strikes. Walk Levine, walk Kaiser.
Well, Chalmers was out of baseball last year. Didn't pitch at all.
Double play ball. There's one, and on to first. So a 4-6-3. Levine to third. And that'll bring up Jordan Beck with 2 gone.
So you're saying Helton likes Beck? I like Beck.
Helton loves Beck. And Todd, I mean, he doesn't throw compliments around just to throw them around. And forget that he's a Tennessee Vol, but he has been impressed with Beck. In fact, he's impressed with a lot of the young position players that the Rockies have. And that's, you know, one of the things that Todd does as a special assistant to Billy Schmidt. I mean, he works the minor leagues and he really enjoys it. This is pulled down the line, fair ball. That'll bring Levine home, and Jordan Beck will long stride his way to second with an RBI double.
And check out his mullet.
Well, hooks this one right inside the foul line, just out of the reach of the third baseman. He starts to come out of the box knowing that he's going to have an opportunity to get two.
Bradley Zimmer's second at bat. This has been the sweet spot in the lineup, the 2-hole. Brenton Doyle started at center field, got 2 at bats. He was 2 for 2, single up the middle, and he had an infield hit. And then Zimmer in his first at bat threw out a double. So the 2 holes 3 for 3. 2 gone. Beck at second. 3-0 Colorado. 7 hits now for the Rockies. That is bounced to first. That'll end the inning. But the Rockies, the 2-out double by Jordan Beck extends Colorado's lead 3-0 as we move to inning number 8 in Scottsdale.
Don't forget, opening day at Coors Field is Friday, April 5th. The Rockies host the Tampa Bay Rays for a weekend series to kick off the home season. To get your tickets for these games or any other games during the summer, go to Rockies.com. Oh, the flyover. It's all good. Talking about a flyover, how about the wire cam with the fly over the field?
Love it. Riley Pint's on the mound for the Rockies. You know, it's been a long and winding journey for Riley. He got a third of an inning in his big league debut last year. Big arm still. Good slider. The issue for Riley Pint throughout his professional career is throwing enough strikes.
He even stepped away from the game momentarily. Just good to see him make it to the big leagues last year. Is pretty impressive.
Del Castillo, the catcher, bounces out to first baseman Grant Levine. 1 gone. And that'll bring up Blaze Alexander. Well, when he was growing up in the Kansas City area and the Rockies took him 4th overall, he hit 102 in high school. It just goes to show you how difficult, especially for high school kids, it's such a difficult, you know, journey, process, and from a scouting perspective, it's inexact. I mean, there's a lot of things that can derail talent as they aspire to get to the big leagues.
Well, I like the story of how he ended up getting back. He went and got a real estate license, and his dad started playing catch with him again. They had to go to the backyard. They used to play catch in the front, and it wasn't going so well. So they moved in the backyard, and it slowly started to come back to him.
Not dissimilar to, you know, Daniel Bard playing catch when he was in the Diamondbacks organization as a mental skills coach. And some of the young players that he was playing catch with were like, dude, I mean, this is electric. That's a base hit to left for Blaze Alexander. You know, and then Daniel would, you know, play catch with his brother. I think you're familiar with the rest of the story.
Saw Daniel today. It was great seeing him. Had knee surgery earlier this week.
Yeah, he looks good. And I mean, obviously, he's not going to be ready to go at the start of the regular season, but hopefully not too far down the road. Hunter Goodman, by the way, is behind the plate. He was DH'd, so the Rockies have to look at Drew Romo for a couple of innings. Alexander at first. Kevin Newman's at the plate. You know, if Hunter Goodman's on the big league roster, what it affords Buddy to do. You know, Elias Diaz last year an all-star, obviously is the all-star game MVP. And on the days that Elias doesn't catch, you can use him, Spilly, as a pinch hitter, knowing that if something were to happen, you know, to Stallings, the old, you know, foul ball, the, you know, nicks a hand, that sort of thing, you have a third catcher in Hunter Goodman.
That's so important. Who was it a couple years ago where they didn't even realize who the third catcher was?
Well, that's a story that all managers, you know, like, so it's usually the super utility guy, and they'll tell you, yeah, Alan Trejo's the emergency catcher. He doesn't know that yet.
He doesn't
so
know
don't tell him.
Told him.
Please don't tell him. 3-2. Well, it's a famous Rocky story. Back in the day, Nathy Perez, who was a terrific shortstop. Well, the Rockies had that situation where their two catchers went down, and I believe they were either in the bottom of the ninth or they were in extra innings. Good feed by. That's on the transition. That's an out call. Kaiser, in his haste to get the ball out of the glove on the transition, lost it. So 2 outs, and Newman is at first. But anyhow, on the mound was Jerry DiPoto, as in the Seattle general manager. And Jerry, you know, threw hard and he had a wicked slider. And because Nathy had never caught, but he was so comfortable with his, you know, 11.5-inch middle infield glove, he wanted to go back there with that. And I believe it was Don Baylor.
Said no.
And he said, no, you are not doing that.
You can't do that.
First pitch, broke off a wicked slider, went to the backstop, winning run, third base, ball game.
Ball game.
Yeah. So Nathy, I'd say he caught for one pitch, but he didn't catch the one pitch.
He filled up the catcher's call.
Right. He got a credit for being a catcher for a moment. Near the Rockies bullpen and out of play is Jordan Beck.
Well, you also have to remember it's probably been about 10 years since Major League Baseball teams kind of made it universal that you're going to have bullpen catchers. Yeah, you used to have your backup catcher would be in the bullpen for the game. So you would have backup infielders or outfielders in between innings if the catcher made the last out, having to warm up pitchers. That's not the case anymore. You don't see that. It's usually the backup catcher will warm up because they're in the dugout.
This is popped up, and at second base, Coco Montez will make the catch. And a solid inning for Riley Pike. Gave up a base hit, nothing else across. Middle of 8. Rockies have all the runs.
The power of baseball goes beyond the field.
More than 10,000 in attendance. Those guys count too. What a blast.
Just happy the weather's warmer here in February than it was last year.
Yeah, it's supposed to get up over the weekend in the mid-80s. Rockies leading the Diamondbacks 3-0. Zach Veen's going to lead off for Colorado. He's going to face another Michigan man. This is the third Michigan man on the mound today. Xander Bogaerts, not a Michigan man and not here. Playing for the Padres. Ricky Karcher is the Michigan man that we were referencing. Ricky made his major league debut last year with Cincinnati. And you know what happened? He got a save in his major league debut. It's the first time it's ever happened in the history of the Cincinnati Reds organization.
With a long history.
They're one of the OGs.
Yeah, like it. He's in Louisville most of the year.
Playing for the Bats. Right, Louisville Bats.
Louisville Bats. 99. He's got a big arm. 2-0 on Veen. Second AB for Veen. Hit a fly ball to left in his first at bat.
You're not kidding. 99, first day of spring training in a spring training game, and it's easy.
Do we just have a violation, Spilly?
I don't know. I can't tell.
It may be 3-0. We'll find out. Or maybe 2-1. Oh, timeout was called. We've just been informed. So it is 2-1. And Veen bounces to second. Blaze Alexander throws him out, and that'll bring up Hunter Goodman, who was hit on the foot his first time up. I'm watching that rail cam, Huey, on top of the Rockies dugout.
Yes.
And it's really cool looking, and it's kind of sneaky. It's like right behind the players, and it's moving slowly. There it is. It's focused in on
a neat look.
Hunter Goodman's great look. This is a swinging bunt that goes foul.
Oh, Hunter Goodman needs to make sure he wasn't running on the grass. That'd be bad.
That's right.
Grass
You remembered.
bad, grass bad, dirt good. Grass stains good though. Grass stains good, right?
Clubbies don't love it, but it's okay. They make a spray for that.
1-1 on Hunter Goodman. And this is popped foul and out of play. Spilly, you did a great interview, by the way, earlier with Buddy, and you got to visit with him where managers, coaches hang out on the chairs outside the dugout, but you failed to do what we talked about last night, which thoroughly disappointed Huey and I.
Oh, you want me to wear a mask?
Well, we wanted you to wear. Yeah, we actually, the mask would have been apropos, but we actually wanted you to wear the double flap helmet.
Oh yeah,
minor league
the
helmet.
minor league helmet. I mean, we have 5 more games, right?
Yes.
So no blackouts.
That's strike 3. Hunter knew it. 2 gone. Karcher working in the upper 90s. Coco Montez will be next. Coco fly ball to right his first time. I like that the aqua blue hats for the D-backs, don't you?
I do. Breaking them out today. First game of spring training.
This is a line drive right to Newman at short. So 1-2-3 inning for Karcher. And we'll go to the 9th with the Rockies up 3-0 in Arizona. So we go to the 9th inning, day 1 of spring training for the Rockies and Diamondbacks. The Rockies lead 3-0 with Jeff Houston and Ryan Spilborghs. I'm Drew Goodman. Rockies have a home run today from Eleris Montero. It went up on the concourse and left some 449 feet. Gavin Hollowell out of St. John's will be asked to get the final 3 outs of this one. The first guy he's scheduled to face is A.J. Vukovic.
26 appearances last year for Gavin. Got His first career win against the Yankees back on July 16th. How cool was that against the Yankees?
Gavin has a little bit of the edge you need to be pitching late in games.
He's got some of the stuff too, because a little different arm angle.
He's got a little crazy in him.
Yeah. Off the extreme first base side of the rubber after the fastball at 96 was strike one, missed with the slider. 1 ball, 1 strike. I didn't check, and you don't count necessarily split squads, but the number of games is usually around 32, 33 that you play in spring training. And it's, you know, it's day after day.
Yeah.
Which kind of replicates the season with one exception. You're playing all afternoon games primarily in late February and March, and then once the season begins, you have to kind of recalibrate the clock, right?
You're waking up at 5:30 in the morning. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
That's the one part about spring training I never understood. I mean, baseball players are not early risers. You know, I've seen a couple ball clubs start spring training where they won't begin practice till about 10 or 11, even with the 1 o'clock game.
Hollowell punches out. Vukovic 1 out. I mean, you understand why the games in the spring are in the afternoon. It's the weather's better.
Weather.
Yeah. It coincides with, you know, so many folks, especially here in the Cactus League, they come down. We know how many folks from Colorado. It's like you walk around Old Town Scottsdale and you see your neighbors.
Yeah, you see all the people wearing their Rockies stuff. Oh, it's such a short flight too from DIA down here.
Yep. Tristan English at the plate.
Direct flights out of the Springs on Southwest now too, so.
I actually think eventually every team is going to be in Arizona for spring training.
Do you really? Why is that?
Weather in Florida and travel time.
This is toward the middle of the diamond. Montez, nice pickup, and he plants that right foot. 2 gone. And you know what? He's particularly happy, Huey. You were a very good middle infielder, because earlier in the game he had that same typical, you know, same play on the backhand and didn't make it.
Yeah, and it's your first game. You're like, oh man, I've made that play so many times in my sleep, and then get that hard one to your backhand and you just make it smooth. So you have a chance to totally redeem yourself.
Yeah. 2 outs. Caleb Roberts steps up. And the first pitch from Hollowell's in there for strike 1. For the Rockies, Carson Palmquist got the start. 2 scoreless innings, gave up a hit, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. You know, he threw 40 pitches, 21 strikes, 19 balls. You don't like that ratio, but Buddy made a great point, I thought, to Spilly. He said, you know what, the misses were really close misses. It wasn't all over the place. He wasn't spraying the baseball exactly, and he ended up with 4 strikeouts. So it was a very nice debut for Carson Palmquist.
And mixed in all 3 pitches. I think that was, for me, to have that command of those 3. A lot of times coming out of the gate, you might have just 1. You can command possibly 2.
Here's the 1-2 to Roberts. Swung on and missed, and that will end spring training game number 1 for the Rockies. And a lot of things to like, as they won 3-0 today over the defending National League champion Arizona Diamondbacks. As Buddy Black will meet with the media here in a few moments, but as we come back upstairs with Jeff Hewson, I think the obvious thing that jumps out, in addition to Palmquist, a nice outing, was Montero kind of picking up where we saw him last September.
Well, and it's a big camp for him because he's out of options, so he has to make the club or be exposed to waivers. So I think for him to get off to the good start, hit that ball of almost 450 feet, that was really good. The young players, that was fun to see. You had some of the young guys come through with base hits today. I just thought it was a pretty clean game for your very first game of spring.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to embellish the point you made about Montero, not only out of options, but we know the Rockies need to hit the ball over the fence more.
Yes.
They need to be a more robust offensive team. And Montero now with some seasoning in the big leagues, we saw some of that fruit late last year, and to start the way he did, because he has the ability to slug.
And you can tell the comfort level is there for him. You don't see the jumpy at bats that you saw maybe last year, the year before. So good for him.
Yeah, and this was a thrill for us to bring this ball game to you, as we have a new arrangement with Major League Baseball, and I know you're going to be able to find us. There'll be more